Able to speak to the team, does it ever get old?
No, definitely not, man. You know, when you get to see guys and you just start thinking about where you came from and the years you might have in the minor leagues and things like that, you know. And I didn't play college ball. I went I was drafted out of high school, but just to see that look on your face, man, and looking forward to the season to get started, man. I understand that they're ready to go.
Pitchers and catchers, first day today. Do you miss it when you look at it today?
Oh yeah, you do, man. You know what? I don't miss all the travel, you know, and everything like that. But you know what I really miss is my friends. You know, your friends are like whatever you do, and no matter what your job is, you know, you miss your buddies, you know, and things like that. But now in coaching, so many guys have gotten back into coaching now, so I get to see a lot of my guys. But that's still nothing better than that first day of spring training. Have that goosebumps. I don't care how many years you played.
I gotta ask you, you're one of the few players out there that's had the opportunity to play for Cubs, Cards, Red Sox, and Yankees. Describe what that was like playing for those in those rivalries.
I don't know if that's a good thing. That means I've been around. Yeah, but you know what, man, with the starting out with the Cub Cardinal thing, it was like bragging rights, you know, and now lately the Cubs have been had some more bragging rights lately, but the Cardinals, I tell you what, man, you can't count them out, man, because they always figure out a way to win, you know. And that rivalry, you'll always find like the wife is a Cub fan, the husband's a Cardinal fan, and it's all in like needling in each other. The Red Sox Yankee thing is a hatred thing, man. It's sort of weird because you're not supposed to go and hang out with your teammate if they're a Yankee or a Red Sox thing like that, man. But it's sort of different for me. But from both sides of it, the players don't have that big of a thing with it. It's just, I think, most of the fan base.
With the Cubs winning the World Series a couple of years ago, how much do you celebrate all the success of all your former teams?
Yeah, I tell you what, man, I got when the Cubbies called me up and I almost didn't answer the phone. A little late, said, "Hey, you got to answer the phone. That's a Chicago number." And it actually was Theo calling me up to say, "Hey, Smitty, we're going to give you a World Series ring." And I'm like, "You do know where I size 18, right?" And so that was one of the good things, man. But most of the guys that I see as old teammates was definitely the Cubs. And I do think with Fergie Jenkins and the foundation and things of that nature. But anytime I get back through St. Louis and see Ozzie Smith, man, there ain't no better than that.
How good is it to see a closer like Trevor Hoffman go into the Hall of Fame?
It's about time. It's about time, man. But you know what? To see the things that Trevor, so many people talk about Mariano Rivera, and the things that he's done. Well, if your team win 120 games a year, you should get 500 saves. Not saying it's easy, because I did that for, And with Trevor going with the Padres, man, they win in 82 games a year. The things that he put up is unbelievable, especially with the changeup. But it's a good thing, and I think we're starting to get a little more, a little more credit for what that job is meant for. Because if you look at the game, probably the last 15 years, if that team hadn't had a good bullpen or a good closer, they don't go anywhere. That bullpen by committee thing, it ain't going to happen.
What do you see as the biggest difference now being able to step back and look at baseball? And, I mean, in bullpens alone, there's so many different specialties. I mean, you got a guy for the seventh, a guy for the eighth, a guy to come in and close. What do you see as the biggest difference than from when you played?
Well, for me, I was the setup man. Left-handed specialist and all Goose, Bruce Sutter, and all those guys did the same thing. But I think that so many guys get hung up into that not being able to go an inning or less, And I wanted to pitch more. When I first was a closer, I was like, "Hey, man, I want to go to the winter ball and throw some more." I'd throw 100 innings, and it was like, "Oh, man, you're going to be washed up as a closer." I'm like, I always wanted to start, But I always wanted to go back out there day in and day out. But I think on the positive side, that the closers are probably a lot fresher, not having thrown so many innings. But I think a lot of the guys now don't know how to warm up. A lot of guys throw, get loose, and they keep throwing. So I used to give Rob Dibble a hard time by saving his bullets, man. I'm like, you don't know how many bullets you got, man. You got to save that, But I learned myself, and the weather was a little cool. I would throw with the outfielders to get ready so it wouldn't take me that much in the bullpen. But it's the individual.
Tonight you'll probably have a lot of Cardinal fans that bring up 91 and do you relish those memories of, that was a heck of a year for you? Oh, God, yeah, definitely, man. Matter of fact, when I came over in 90, and I got there, and Whitey Herzog saw my slider, and he quit. But, it's just that weird thing is to get back there to St. Louis, because that was one of my favorite places to visit, when I was with the Cubs. But you know what, man? It's just the look at that 1991 season was awesome, man. But you started from somewhere with the ball club. Like I said, with Ozzie and all those. Ozzie probably, I got 100 and something saves with the Cardinals, and I think Ozzie probably got about 80 of those for me. But it's just one of those things, man. Just get back to the city because everybody is so well-rounded and understand the game of baseball. That's what I love.
Buck O'Neil scouted you and recommended the Cubs. It's like, we need to draft this guy. Besides Buck O'Neil, just growing up and coaches and players and managers been around, who's people that were really instrumental in your life and where you got to?
Well, you know, one of my high school baseball coach and our principal, Mr. M.L. Sneed, was like a principal, because I wasn't going to play the game of baseball. Basketball was going to be it for me, and I actually, you know, I don't know if those old schools had those intercoms, you know, on the wall in your classroom, and I get the principal called me into the office and started thinking about what I'd done, you know, to be drugged into the office, and he was wanting me to go out for the baseball team. But that was not something on my mind. I did not want to play the game of baseball. But even going on back down to a Buck O'Neil, it was really a fluke that they found me, because the Dodgers and the Phillies was coming to look at one of Vida Blue's nephews that pitched. And they actually saw me, and I never forget, I got this clipping, you know, in my trophy case that, who's the other guy? That's what he asked me, the scout, like, who's the other guy? So that happened to be my nickname. It was like, the other guy got drafted by the Cubs, you know. But it's just those guys like that, like Buck O'Neil. And Randy Hundley was one of the old Cub catchers, was one of the first guys that actually taught the Cubs into making me a relief pitcher, because I didn't want to be a relief pitcher. It was a slap in the face, because it was like, the guy's not good enough to start at that time, so throw him in the bullpen. And I told the kids earlier, back then, relievers didn't get to throw unless the starter got the butt kick. So it was like one of those things, man. I was like, okay, man, am I good enough to play, you know, Major League Baseball? But, you know, and the rest is history.
Well, you took, you know, a year off there. You said, well, okay, I'm going to go back and play basketball at Northwestern State.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, I pulled up your stats. I found your stats and everything. And pretty good shooter, from, you know, after 57% shooter, 83% from the free throw line.
Well, you know what? That was my first love. And my ex-wife gave me a hard time. Like, you're the only guy that played Major League Baseball, built a gymnasium to play basketball. I'm like, that was my love, you know. But I just, you know, it just took me a while, and I think it probably cost me a couple years in the big leagues, you know, by not putting all my efforts into the game of baseball. Now, that's my love. I live in, I dream baseball.
By the way, that year y'all played Arkansas State twice. You lost both times.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, made my free throws off.
With all the home runs in today's game, would you want to play in today's game?
I would love to. I'd love to see if, you know, because, you know, the guys before me were like, man, I wonder what I could do with just these guys like that. But I think as a whole, when I played, you didn't have many guys could go opposite field. You know, that wasn't too many 5-6 guys taking your oppo, right? You know, just to see and match up your stats against guys like that. I hear Gaylord Perry and Raleigh Fingers and all those guys talk about what they could do. It'd be nice to see.
Who would you like to face in today's game?
I'd like to face Bryce Harper. Go to the top. Trout, guys like that.
Who was hard for you, you know, or who would you really enjoy going toe-to-toe with during your era?
Well, I really like pitching against Mike Schmidt, but I didn't do too good against him. And guys like him, Andre Dawson, those guys like that, you know, those, you know, you know, really hard swingers, you know, home run hitters, those guys like that. Because, you know, if you go out there and you strike out guys and not considered quality players back then, you know, you wanted to match your stats against the best. And one of the best things that ever happened to me was the '87 All-Star game. I actually was in Oakland, and I got to face Mark McGwire in Oakland, and I struck him out there in the game. So that was the thing where sort of put you as one of the premier closers, because you got out the best in the game, and Mark McGwire was one of the best in the game then.
You talked about your buddy Ozzie Smith. He didn't have a lot of power, but he was hard to strike out. Was he kind of a pest to face?
Oh, God, yeah. You know what? And when he first came up, Ozzie, I think he weighed about 110. When he first came up with San Diego, he was just a glove man. And when he got into that a little later on in his career, Ozzie put on a little. But I'm telling you, he was a tough out, man. And being a switch hitter, and they put him in White Hurst, I put him in a perfect spot, you know, in that 2-hole. You know, that was the one thing I think that really helped him out. But Ozzie had a little pop. He thought he could go deep, man. But we always give him a hard time about his bat was being too big until he took us deep. But Ozzie was just in here. We talked about the kids just having that heart, man. And that's what the game of baseball had nothing to do with how tall you are.
Best moment as a Cub, best moment as a Cardinal.
I would have to say the '84 playoff game when we went to the playoffs against San Diego, because the Cubs hadn't been there, and that was really somewhat that recognition of that team, myself, Sandberg, Leon Durham, even though we lost to San Diego, they played better than we did. So I got no problem with that. But at the St. Louis Cardinals, just getting drafted over, man, because I was in that American League, and I'd never been to the American League, and I'm in Boston. I didn't think about the travel, man, until I went there to Boston, you know. And to go to St. Louis, couldn't go to a better place, because that was one of my favorite places to visit.